The Geekery Update with
Allen.
Bryan. The Geekery Update.
The Geekery Update.
The Geekery Update.
The Geekery Update.
The Geekery Update. Oh no, they're great.
Oh, they're great. Word. All right, so this is the Geekery Update. I'm Alan D. Lyons, indie author. Go ahead and pick up my books. Hostage 100, that's the one you should start with. Hostage 100, and then I've got Sasquatch and the Scorpion. That's the sequel to Hostage 100, or at least the second in the universe of stories. And then I also got another one called Full Steam Ahead. Check that one out as well. And as always, I have my co-host, Bryan. Cohort. That's like co-host and cohort. So you're my co-host. So we wrapped up on WandaVision here. And so we're going to go ahead and segue right into the next Marvel MCU Disney Plus show, that being Falcon and the Winter Soldier, affectionately called Foz. #Foz. And at the end
it took me like 2 seconds to get that, but I got it now.
2 seconds. We ended our WandaVision episode kind of segueing into it. So this will be our pre-show show on Foz, and we're going to kind of discuss some of our theories, some of the news that we've been hearing leading up into this. And so when we revisit on our Falcon and the Winter Soldier wrap show, we will harken back to this and see what we got correct and whatnot. So at the end of our WandaVision episode, I brought up my theory. That theory being, in WandaVision, I feel like they hinted that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, that they were mutants like they're in the comics. I feel like they hinted at that. So in WandaVision, I feel like that was their introductory to mutants. They didn't name drop them by mutants. And then in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think they will actually say the word mutants, but not necessarily give us an X-Men character or something, but they will indeed say the word. And part of my reasoning for that theory is some of the news that we've saw, and some of the things that they said, that one of the places that they're going to go to in the show is Madripoor, which is
That's right. That's where I would live if I was in Marvel.
Right. And so that is a fictional country like Sokovia, in which the MCU version of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they're from Sokovia.
Wakanda.
There's Wakanda is another fictional country. That's where Black Panther is. And so another fictional country is Madripoor. And that is how appears a lot in X-Men comics.
Is it a country or a city?
You know, it might be a city. It might be one of those, like Star Wars, you got Coruscant, which is the whole planet's a city. So maybe it's like the whole country's a city.
So I'm going to read this. The Principality. Madripoor, I'm just going to ignore the first part. Madripoor is a fictional island located in Southeast Asia, appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. So it's an island.
Okay. It's an island.
So you were right. Because if it's an island, it's technically a country.
Right, but it's probably mainly the city.
Right, it's like a city country.
Now, what's the importance? I feel like you might know this over me. Like, I know a lot about my comics, but I think you might know more than I do.
So I didn't.
What's the importance of Madripoor with mutants?
Just so that's. I was just gonna say I was never. They just never, like, the TV show is pretty cool. Right. But really, I like the opening theme. Most. Oh yeah, it was so great.
See, is it kind of like Genosha? Like Genosha, I know is Magneto's safe haven country that he created.
Let me find out.
Okay, so this is my X-Men encyclopedia. I think I have a updated version. This is up until the first movie. So I think I have a version that's up until the third movie. But I saw this, so I grabbed this. Madripoor, page 120 to 121.
And just keep in mind, everyone watching, we have not seen Madripoor anywhere in any live-action Marvel movie, even the X-Men.
Even the X-Men, yeah. So Okay, so we got an expansive page there. Let me read this real quick. Okay, so this is a X-Men encyclopedia. So this is specifically to the X-Men.
Right.
Wolverine has made his second home in the Principality of Madripoor, a small island nation in the Indonesian archipelago. So that's kind of what you were reading there. Like Genosha, Madripoor was a sanctuary for pirates many years ago. In fact, the pirate ethic has shaped Madripoor's history and society. Its recently deceased ruler, Prince Baron, was descended from the freebooters who settled on the island and founded the country. Just as Madripoor's rulers tolerated piracy in the past, its government today has a relaxed policy toward most business dealings that do not threaten the regime's stability. As a result, Madripoor has become one of the business capitals of the Pacific Rim, not to be confused with the movie's Pacific Rim. However, it is also a notorious
Pacific
center.
Rim being like Indonesia.
Yeah.
That whole area.
However, it is also a notorious center for crime, especially the narcotics trade and slavery. Since Madripoor does not permit other nations to extradite criminals, the island has become a refuge for international crime lords and criminal organizations who make payoffs to the government to ensure good relations. So that is the main introductory paragraph for that.
So it sounds like it's kind of like a criminal town.
Pretty much, yeah. And so I think
Not a place you'd want to hang out.
mainly it's mainly for Wolverine. So that employs the big theory, oh, we're gonna see Wolverine. I doubt it. It's possible, but I doubt it. Highly doubt it. But I think they will, since Madripoor is going to be in this, I do think that they're going to at least name drop mutants. Maybe give us some minor character from the comics that only the deep comic readers know.
So I am like halfway there with you,
Okay.
but I don't think the words are the same. Let me explain. So Miss Marvel, which comes out later this year,
Right.
and this has already been stated by Kevin Feige, so this is just like the comics. She is an Inhuman.
Okay.
So in this TV show coming
This
up,
is the Kamala
Miss Marvel.
Khan. Is that what her name is?
Kamala Khan.
Not to be confused with our vice president, because I keep calling our vice president Kamala Khan.
No, so what makes Kamala Khan, and this is what makes me, so just so everyone knows, personally, Miss Marvel is the one I am single-handedly most excited for right now.
Okay.
The Disney series. And the big reason for that is because she is every single one of us who are a geek of the MCU. Like, if you were to go into her room, she has posters of the Avengers everywhere. She's obsessed with them. And what makes her story so fantastic is she gets these superpowers and starts fighting with these heroes that she's like about,
So
right?
it's kind of like we're in the movie Shazam. Billy Batson, his foster brother, was obsessed with not necessarily the Justice League, but he was obsessed with Superman and Batman and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And them living in the world that he lives in.
Right. And that's, at the end of that, they brought the neck down of Superman.
Right.
But no, so I say that because I've heard from, the Daniels and Charles and I the people on the Twitter world that I follow.
Right.
I've kind of heard discussion amongst them that Miss Marvel somehow, some way is going to connect to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now,
Okay.
I will also say I've been watching the trailers diligently, and the people that wear those masks with the red paint?
No, but go.
So if you watch one of the trailers, focus on them.
Okay. I'm trying
jumping.
not to watch the trailers. I'm trying to just
never
go
mind.
when they're blind.
So,
which is, we're doing a pre-show, and it's like,
I don't want to.
I'm going blind, but I'm going to do a whole pre-show about it.
I mean, it's part of my theory. So, the bad people in it, there's a scene where they're fighting on a train, and a couple of the bad people, when they jump, They jump like 20 feet in the air.
Okay.
And then there's a line later in one of the between Bucky and Sam where he says they're just ultra strong. They're like freaky strong, like you strong, saying super serumed Winter Soldier strong.
Okay.
Now, I don't think it's super soldier serum that's being used. I think they're Inhumans.
Not mutants, but Inhumans.
And I think my hypothesis is I don't know if it's going to be the Terrigen Mist per se,
Right.
defined exact, but something similar, something related to perhaps, is going to be the thing that they're after because they want to spawn other different beings in the world. I think Marvel is going to make, because I've thought about this for a while, like the Inhumans were so disgustingly unsuccessful on their one season debut. And no offense to the actors, people who worked on the show, etc. You know, I'm not trying to diss an individual. All the offense to them for sure, but it was just a terrible show. It was awful. It was absolutely Black Bolt, in my opinion, could single-handedly be a villain for an entire Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Black Bolt is so freakishly strong. All he does is go.
He's got the God complex. I mean, that's what
the
biblical
breathes.
God is. God speaks, and like they say that's how Noah's Ark, the flood, happened because he spoke and he broke open this canopy that was once over the earth. And like on the movie Dogma, I know we're talking about the James Silent Bob movies before. You haven't seen them, but there is in there Alan Rickman plays a character called the Metronome, which is an angel who serves as the voice of God, who goes and talks to people in God's place, sends out messages for God. And then at the very end of the movie, God shows up, and it's Alanis Morissette. Spoiler alert. I mean, it's 30 years ago, but spoiler alert. It's Alanis Morissette is God. And she speaks. Or like Metronome, first of all, he says, anyone who isn't a celestial being or blah, 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 I suggest you close your ears. And Jay, he's like, blah, 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 WTF, blah, blah, blah. And then they like Silent Bob and Salma Hayek's character, they plug his ears and shove him down. And then Alanis Morissette speaks and it like shatters the earth. So this is Black Bolt. This is his power.
Right. So one of the things, this is when I turned the show off when I saw this. When he goes and the taxi flips over. Are you kidding me?
I don't think I didn't get very far in it at all.
That is Black Bolt.
And he's not wearing a mask or anything. He looks stupid.
He done flipped a taxi. He opens his mouth and done flips a taxi. Give me a break.
Well, no.
He's supposed to.
How about this?
Earth
right in the first episode, Medusa, her thing is her hair. Like she fights with her hair and she grabs people and stuff. The very first episode, they shave her hair off.
The only random fact, she is the only one that can communicate with Black Bolt because she has telekinesis.
And that's probably why they're an item.
Married, probably. Yeah. Said, hey babe, I have the hots for you, or thought it, not said it.
Right, yeah.
Can't actually. But so I think Marvel has such a sour taste, and the fans, with Inhumans.
Yeah.
That they're going to avoid Inhumans related to the royal family.
Okay.
And I think what we're going to see develop is the Inhumans tend, with the exception of Miss Marvel and a couple others, I think the Inhumans of the Earth are going to increasingly partake in crime. And as a result, this is where the mutants are going to come in.
Okay.
People are going to assume mutants are also committing crimes.
Yeah.
Boom. And then we'll probably get some sort of conflict, Civil War conflict between Inhumans and X-Men. And then we'll get our X-Men Avengers movie.
Okay. So that's your theory on that moving forward. I wanted to make note of the Inhumans. So before that show came out, I mean, obviously, well, not obviously, but there was at one time Inhumans was a movie slated to come out around Infinity Endgame. But then they got cold feet or something, and they decided to make it a TV show instead. But right around the time they announced the movie, when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was still sort of involved with the MCU, that's when they started doing Inhumans on the show, and they had did the whole plot where the Terrigen mist went off.
I remember that.
Yep, and then so
Yep,
they
and
started
that's
introducing
how
characters.
She got her earthquake powers or whatever.
Yeah, how Quake did, Daisy or Sky, she was originally called. That was their, because at the time they didn't own the rights to mutants, to X-Men mutants, plus so on and so forth. So that was like their way of being like, well, we can't do anything with mutants, so this is what we're gonna do instead. We're gonna just go ahead and use Inhumans.
So I will actually research this and get back to you and our audience. But if I'm thinking and remembering it all correctly, WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier were both written before the Fox merger happened.
Okay.
And from a legal standpoint, legally speaking, they could not use any of those characters' named references.
Now,
so I bring that up because that's why I think the word mutant was never used in WandaVision.
Okay, if that's the case, though, how would they be able to use Magipur unless that's one of those gray areas?
That's
like Quicksilver was.
Right, Quicksilver. So it's funny because they were never able to use the word Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Okay.
Actually, I just contradicted I just had a phone call tonight. I just contradicted myself, and let me tell you why. In WandaVision, she's called Scarlet Witch, and that was owned by Fox. So if they use
the word Scarlet Witch,
yep, I literally just corrected myself. I apologize, y'all.
And they didn't use a damn thing with that name.
Right. So the thing about Falcon and Winter Soldier too is there was a heavy speculation, and it's still kind of rumored that this is kind of caused some rewrites, but the director actually just came out and said no major rewrites were done. Like the plot still remains intact at the same time.
Okay.
There was some sort of rumor of like it's a virus, whatever, something to do with the virus. I don't think it's a virus. I think it's the Inhuman gene. The Terrigen Mist. Like I said, something related to that. I think some evil underground crew of Inhumans starts rising up. Zemo takes advantage of the situation, manipulates their team.
And I'm really excited about Zemo. I'm really excited. Like, okay, so when they announced that Zemo was going to be the villain for Captain America Civil War, or the villain that was pulling the strings all along, right? I got really excited about that because I love Zemo. I know a little bit about Zemo. But I know more of his look. Like, I was excited to see the whole mask. Now, there's two Zemos, actually. There's Heinrich Zemo and there's Helmut Zemo. Yeah, Helmut Zemo. Heinrich Zemo was the dad and was in the original Avengers comics, and he had it was more like more of a hood than a mask, and it had some fur around the collar, right? And his whole thing was he was a scientist messing with this adhesive X, and he accidentally glued his hood on, and he couldn't get it off. And then then later on, his son took over the role, Helmut Zemo, and that's the Zemo, the more classic one that we know, where it's a mask, right? And his story was, now I haven't really, I did read the original Avengers comics where Heinrich Zemo was in there, so I know that one for sure. But I think the way the Helmut Zemo is Heinrich was killed probably by the Avengers, and so Helmut is taking revenge. Now, in Captain America Civil War, that's the plot of that character, where the whole Sokovia thing in Age of Ultron, when all that happened, his dad was killed. So now he takes revenge on the Avengers, and that's why he pit them against each other. But
it was.
So that's great.
He was
the
top 3 villain.
Oh yeah, I was disappointed there was no mask. This is before I even learned all that. I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's great. But I was disappointed no mask. So now in this show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he gets to wear the mask, which I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I think so. The first reviews for the first episode came out, and I mean it's phenomenal. a couple weeks ago, there was a bunch of the insiders that saw 2 scenes. They were about 10, 15 minutes each from the show.
Okay.
One was showcasing Falcon, one was showcasing Bucky. The one I'll say Falcon for a second, but the one they weren't allowed to give details. I'm not spoiling anything.
Right.
But they basically all said that the Bucky and Winter Soldier thing, they do some incredible flashback sequences. They do a wonderful job, like showing his like trauma with everything. And they said he just has like a lot of like you can just tell he's gonna be like super awesome beyond just the fact that he's a superhero.
Right.
And then the Falcon one was a action sequence with Falcon.
Okay.
They weren't allowed to go into the detail of the action, but the word brutal, the word hardcore, the word bloody, the word gruesome, all used multiple times.
Okay.
So this Falcon action sequence is apparently, it's being suggested at this point, the opening sequence of the show.
Okay, cool.
And the intent of that would be to, because it's supposed to be one of the most action, I'm not saying this lightly because this is what everyone said, one of the most action-packed sequences we've ever seen from Marvel. So, the theory is they want to start this show, because WandaVision was just so different, right? They want to start this show and be like, hey, everyone, Marvel is here. So, I don't know, I'm excited. Either way, whenever we end up seeing that Falcon action sequence, we'll know when it is. But it's supposed to be, like I said, it's supposed to be one of the best action sequences Marvel's ever put together.
So let me ask you.
If you think about their action sequences, that's saying a lot.
Let me ask you this: do you think we'll see Red Wing again? And to what extent?
You need to watch the trailers. I mean, I already know we will.
Oh, okay. So he's in there. All right. I liked how Red Wing in the comics was an actual Falcon. He was red, and that Sam had
Yeah, he was a real bird.
Yeah, and Sam kind of had this link with him telepathically, I think. And the way he was in Civil War, Captain America Civil War, he was a robot. He was kind of like the owl on the old Clash of the Titans 70s movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then who was he saying that to? Was it Black Widow or was it Scarlet Witch? He was saying how, you need to think Red Wing. And they're like, no, I think it was Black Widow.
Yeah, I'm not thinking that thing.
Yeah, I'm not.
So in the trailer, this is in the trailer. So again, I'm not spoiling anything.
Okay, gotcha.
I know you don't want to watch them, but it's in the trailer.
Yeah, for our listeners, because I'm sure they watched them too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Marvel posts the trailer almost every day now.
Yeah.
So there was a trailer where Bucky makes some mistake and he falls and lands on his back. And you see Red Wing fly up super slowly, and Falcon's like, ha, Red Wing got that all on tape.
Nice. But he's still a robot, evidently. It's not an actual bird.
Yeah. I think, so Disney Plus just announced that they just reached over 100 million plus subscribers.
Yeah. Nice.
I think Falcon and Winter Soldier will single-handedly add at least 10 million subscribers.
So remember I did last time. See this hand? Just this one hand, single-handedly.
Yes. So either way, I think this show is going to be, I think we can agree the buddy dynamic, the frenemies, we don't like each other, but we respect each other and work with each other. Like buddy cop, I don't know whatever phrase you want to use for what those two are going to be. What we all agree on is their chemistry is, if not perfect, near perfect.
Okay. So yeah, that'll be a big takeaway for this.
Yes. I mean, we witnessed it in that slug bug scene in Civil War. I mean, if you think about that scene, they had to act their asses off to make that scene what it was. Oh, yeah. But when Bucky's like, can you move your seat? And Falcon's like, no. Like, You know what I'm talking about because you've seen it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they acted their asses. They barely did anything, but they acted their ass, and it was their chemistry
And then so
that
Bucky
made
just scoots over.
that. And then Falcon's like, oh,
So let's
we
talk
couldn't
about
have
some of
done-
the other people we're going to see in this. We're going to see U.S. Agent. And
Yep.
so evidently the storyline with that is how at the end of Endgame, Cap gave Falcon the shield. That was Cap's choice to take on the Captain America mantle. However, America created, the government created Captain America. So they feel they have the say in who takes it on. So then they have U.S. Agent. That's their Captain America replacement.
Mhm.
And so, which isn't that Kurt Russell's son? Isn't that who's playing him? Wyatt Russell.
yeah,
And so that's
I didn't realize he was his
a second generation
say-
that's in the MCU. Because Kurt Russell was in the MCU. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy too.
Yeah, he was, only a living planet, not a big deal at all.
All right. Well, Ego, the Living Planet, one of the big villains. But so yeah, Wyatt Russell is playing U.S. Agent.
So his character is going to be interesting because he's got to be the antagonist at some point.
Yeah. Well, they're definitely going to butt
how?
heads with this guy.
I don't think they're going to butt heads. I think he's legitimately going to go evil somehow. Someday.
Okay.
I don't know if he gets brainwashed. I don't know if he takes the inhuman Terrigen medicine. I don't know. I think at some point during the show he goes.
Well, surely they're going to give him some form of the super soldier serum. They're going to give him some form of what they have created. Obviously, it's not the one that Steve Rogers took because that was Dr. Eskrein, and that was destroyed upon
the purest form of it.
Yeah, and then in Incredible Hulk, the one with Edward Norton, Abomination took it. Ooh, which hey, didn't we say in one of our first episodes we were talking about how an old MCU villain was going to return in this show, and one of the theories was Abomination.
That's right.
So that has to do with the super soldier serum.
It's funny you say that since we've had that conversation and now Abomination has been confirmed for She-Hulk.
Okay, cool.
So he's coming back. It just wasn't when we thought.
Right, yeah. But there is going to be some kind of old MCU villain that will return, is what the news that we had uncovered.
Batroc the Leaper. Do you remember him?
Yeah, he was in Winter Soldier.
Yeah, he's in this show too.
Okay.
So
which is cool. I liked him.
I hope he gets actually a role, not just let me get my butt kicked.
Right. But, hey, that was still a sweet scene there at the beginning. That was like old James Bond movie where he fights a villain at the beginning and it moves on from there.
That opening, that sequence in Winter Soldier, from the time he jumps off the plane and he goes, did he forget is he not wearing a parachute? Nope. You're like
that's straight up pulled. That's straight up pulled from the Ultimates by Mark Miller. The Avengers and the Ultimate timeline. That's straight up pulled from there.
Same with in Civil War when Ant-Man was on Hawkeye's arrow. That's totally. Oh yeah. It's not from the Ultimates.
It's not from the Ultimates, but that's from one of the classic ones. There's a old classic picture that.
I was so when I saw that scene, I was like.
But anyways, as you're saying, from that scene there, when he jumps out of the plane, when Cap jumps out of the plane,
so he jumps out of the plane and you're just like, oh damn! And then he crawls onto the boat, and then he starts running and fighting everyone, throwing. It's the first time we've seen him boomerang the shield. First time we've seen him throw it and have it come and then.
Oh yeah.
It just the movie was. Listen, the Russo brothers, I compliment them for everything they've done for the MCU, particularly Infinity War and Endgame, because only those two could have done those two. There's no one else.
And they started off with Winter Soldier. That was their first MCU installment.
Correct. But what I will never understand how they accomplished it was they made Captain America one of the most popular superheroes in the world.
Oh yeah.
Do you know how boring
Hands
he is
down.
in the comics?
Oh yeah.
He is a shield wielding strong dude.
He's a Boy Scout.
He's so boring. Like
Yeah.
he's cool because he's like the leader and blah blah
They
blah.
put some
But
old political tones in it. They like, so what they did for Winter Soldier, they took a storyline from a totally different character. They took, and it's sitting over there, I'm not gonna pull it out, but there's a comic called it's like an arc, but they collected it in a trade paperback. Nick Fury versus Shield. So Nick Fury, that's whole story there, where Nick Fury is on the run from Shield because he finds out that Shield is not who they thought they were. And so that storyline, so they just went ahead and replaced Nick Fury with Captain America.
well, Nick Fury still goes on the run in the movie.
He's still in there, yeah. But everything that Nick Fury does is Captain America in the movie.
Got it.
Yeah. Now, I also wanted to point out, so that the scene with them on the ship and everything, and then there's the hostages and everything on all that, right? So I was talking about in our WandaVision episode how Superhero Theorist does the supercuts, and they're doing the WandaVision supercut, and I was talking about how I'd like them to do the Winter Soldier supercut with the episodes from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's one particular thing that just segues right into the movie that I love. So in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., well, he's both in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Captain America Winter Soldier, is
Howard Sitwell.
Jasper Sitwell. Who'd you say? Yeah, Jasper
Howard
Sitwell.
Howard.
Not Howard Stark. Come on, Jasper Sitwell. So there's a scene in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where he's talking to Coulson or somebody like that, and he's like, "I've got this situation I need to go to right now," and he's kind of describing the situation a little bit. And then from that point right there, the next time you see him, he's one of the hostages there on the ship. And so that just segues his appearance from the show on into and then I don't think we really see him again on the show, because in the movie, then that's when we reveal, spoiler alert, he's actually a Hydra agent.
That was, I mean, Winter Soldier was amazing, man.
Yeah.
And then they name dropped Stephen Strange. Like, That's when I was like, okay, I'm done. Just, is there can I sign up annually and pay you $600 a year and I just have everything you do for free? Please.
Yeah, it really took some steam from there. Okay, so let's go back into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Some of the other characters we'll be seeing in there. Sharon Carter is returning, right? Which is Peggy Carter's niece, great niece or something.
She's in one of the trailers, and that little tiny scene she has in the trailer is awesome.
Oh yeah.
If that's gonna be her in the show,
cool.
They just made her. They just.
I don't remember if they actually call her Agent 13 in the movies yet. If they haven't, are they gonna call her it in this?
I think in this one they will.
Okay. Cool.
She'll be more. She's supposed to be like an underground or secret or something, but I don't know. But someone else that is, I think, might be in this that nobody's really talking about, that was spoke about very briefly, almost confirmed by some people, and then it just kind of disappeared.
Okay.
And those are my favorite stories, because if something just disappears,
right,
typically that means the studio got a hold of it.
Yeah. They'll do the whole Men in Black kind of flasher deal.
So there was a period in time when Yelena, aka Black Widow, the new one,
yes, Florence Pugh
would be appearing. Florence Pugh, who is going to be in Hawkeye. She's confirmed in Hawkeye.
Okay, cool.
So
and by this time, but in the
she'll be in
other timeline
Black
that was
Widow.
not COVID, she was already established. We already saw her and everything.
Correct.
Yeah.
And yeah. So it's. I mean.
But of the timeline that Black Widow's it takes place between Infinity War and Endgame. So she's already established in the MCU.
Civil War and then Infinity War.
That's it, right there. My bad. Yes.
I knew you knew what you meant, but you just got.
You knew what I knew, what you knew that they knew.
Yeah, they all knew what you knew that you knew that you knew what you knew.
Joey. So, anyways, Yelena, the second Black Widow.
It was assumed she was going to take over the Black Widow mantle, but after the casting confirmation in Hawkeye, it's pretty much confirmed. But I don't think she'll be in the Avengers. I don't think that'll be her team. I
Okay.
think she'll be in the Thunderbolts.
So get into that right now, because that's one of the theories that you've got going on.
So it's not a theory. It's in place.
Right.
Let me hold on. Time out. Let me back this up.
Okay.
I don't want to make it sound like that's confirmed.
Right.
The right people have resourced the correct information from the trustworthy sources, and the right people in the studios,
yes,
that speak on these type of situations have said the correct things about it as well.
I do want to say, before you get too deep in that, I do want to say that I was reading this article years ago with James Gunn. Before his whole ordeal where he was fired, then he was hired by DC to make the Suicide Squad, when he was still working on, I think it was even before Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 came out. He was asked what else for Marvel he would like to do, or it said something how he was given the reins, like after Guardians of the Galaxy was done with.
He did not say Thunderbolts.
They were given, they were going to give him whatever else, and they asked him, what else would you like to do? Yes, he said Thunderbolts.
Oh, God, don't tell me that, because now I'm not going to be able to envision the Thunderbolts being directed by anybody else. Oh,
well, he's making the Thunderbolts for DC right now, so.
Yeah. Well, so it's fun. So Guardians 3 comes out in 2023. So let's do timing in this.
Okay.
Marvel's a lot with timing.
Well, I want to hear what you're saying about Thunderbolts. This
is all tied in.
Okay, gotcha.
So I don't think we'll see the Thunderbolts till 2024. Or even 2025. That could go off. Let me say why. And now that you say that with the whole James Gunn thing, I just connected the dot. He's probably going to do it.
Okay.
After Guardians 3,
right,
his trilogy's done.
Right.
And
but it was also said that he was going to helm the space stuff for Marvel. They did,
like the cosmic side?
Yeah, they said that around the time when he was working on 3.
He could still do that and direct the Thunderbolts.
True.
But I think what we're going to see is, like in Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think one of the end credit scenes or during this show itself, I think we're going to see a Thunderbolt Ross.
Okay, yeah.
Talk to Zemo, and he's going to plant the chip on him.
Okay.
And that chip's going to be the one that, if you betray us, we blow your head off. Big deal.
That's Suicide Squad. Come on.
Well, it's going to be something that gives them a sense of, if you don't follow us, we're going to.
Okay.
So anyway, I think the same thing's going to happen in Black Widow. I think they're going to insinuate, like, hey, Yelena, you should join.
Right. Like,
we're thinking about putting together a team. But I think we're going to see small little drops and hints of that with, like, Zemo, Black Widow, Yelena, Black Widow, Abomination and She-Hulk. I think Abomination will get recruited.
Right.
There's a ton of great options out there. So
what do you think Thunderbolt's role? What do you think their role is going to be in the MCU? Because they had a few different roles in the comics.
So when the whole Thunderbolts things first started getting talked about, I think it was by Charles Murphy, actually. And just so everyone knows, Charles Murphy his accuracy percentage rate is above the Hollywood Reporter. Let that sink in.
Okay.
So he basically said their Thunderbolts is on the plate, not in production yet, but it's on the plate.
Right.
And they're in between making a one and done film or a trilogy.
A film, okay. So we're gonna do a film, not a TV show.
I think they've moved it to a TV show. I think we're gonna get we'll get a one and done TV series.
Like a mini series, okay.
And I think for the Thunderbolts, that to give them 6 hours of story would make more sense than 2.5.
Okay.
Because
See,
they
this
can
is
tell a lot of story in 6 hours.
okay. So removing what you've heard and your theory out of the question, this is what I would like to see of the Thunderbolts. Again, removing what you're saying out of the situation. I like to see them build in each of these different installments, different projects. I'd like to see them build and then them show up, not necessarily have their own feature, a movie or a show or something, but just show up in different places as a team. Because what I know of Thunderbolts, I mean, like I said, they have a few different roles in the comics, and there's a few different lineups. Probably one of the original
I actually just
versions.
got a new comic. They have a new comic running, and I can't stand it. I got two, and I'm already done with it. I'm like, I'm not doing any more of this. This is awful.
One of the first versions of the Thunderbolts, they were villains. So see them as like an antagonist fighting like the Avengers or fighting, some team of the Avengers as just something for them to fight, and then give them some good story arc, not just be one of those villains that were like, pow, you're done, But so they started off Thunderbolts. I'm not necessarily sure if this is how they initially started, but in the 90s, I want to say, led by Zemo, there was a team where and they had masqueraded, kind of like I was talking about with Mysterio. They try to masquerade as good guys. They try to play off as good guys, and Zemo they all had different personas. So like Zemo was like Citizen V or something like that. Not, I might be confusing that with V for Vendetta, but it was something like that. And like Beetle was part of there and whatnot. So they're all villains, but they're masquerading as heroes, kind of like where there's the Dark Avengers. The Dark Avengers were all villains, but they're masquerading as like Norman Osborn was Iron Patriot, and that's where we first got Iron Patriot.
Oh my god, I hope we get the Dark Avengers.
Not
sometime.
Rhodey, yeah. And so so then that was that. And then there was another team I knew of, and I think I'm pretty sure I discussed this in another episode. It might have been in our old MCU villain returning to Foz. It might have been that one. But anyways, there's another Thunderbolts where it was like all red characters. So you have the Red Hulk, which is Thunderbolt Ross. You have Elektra was part of that. Agent Venom, which is Flash Thompson, Spider-Man's bully. He was in the Iraq War and he lost his legs. He like did something heroic, got a Purple Heart because we all know that Flash Thompson idolizes Spider-Man. So when he was a soldier, that's why he signed up, because he wanted to be a hero. And he was just thinking, what would Spider-Man do? So he sacrificed himself, and he lost his legs. So then the government signed him up for this project, and they had a hold of the symbiote, the Venom symbiote, and they gave it to him, and then he was Agent Venom. So when he was in the Thunderbolts.
So I've seen I've never read anything with Agent Venom, but I've seen pictures. I know what he looks like.
Okay.
And hearing that is so awesome.
Yeah, and it would be weird to see the Flash Thompson they've got in the MCU to play. But that actor said he wanted to be Agent Venom. So, but anyway, so when he joined this Thunderbolts team, like he was like, Venom is, he's mostly got the black goo over him, but he's got the white in him and everything. And so Agent Venom was like this, but he had like guns and stuff, and he had the white patterns. But when he joined the Thunderbolts, it was all red. Deadpool was part of them.
You said Electro earlier, right?
Elektra, like Daredevil's partner.
I was gonna say Electro is like yellow.
Yeah, not Electro, the Spider-Man villain, but Elektra as in Daredevil's partner. I think that was it. I want to try to. There might have been another one in there, but I can't necessarily remember. But that was like the red team, if you will. And then they've had other versions.
Well, isn't there a team that is a team of the Thunderbolts simply on the basis that they were villains that want to do good?
Yeah, they
actually are genuine.
Okay, that might have been a mixture of that first one.
Okay, let me revise that. Not genuinely good, because they're still villains. but they're just
Right.
tired of doing villainary work. So they
Yeah.
decide to.
Did I have that encyclopedia out? I do. Let me just bring this up real quick. Okay, so I was talking about the X-Men encyclopedia I have.
Mhm.
When we did our WandaVision theory episode, I brought out my original Marvel encyclopedia because I wanted to talk about Reed Richards and the Crossroads and the Nexus and everything. And I had a bookmark in my original encyclopedia. But I also explained that I have the updated and expanded version. So, since I have this out, and I was looking for Madripoor in this, but it wasn't in here. So that's why I brought that out. Oh, look at this. I open right up to Baron Zemo. That's interesting. Yeah. Let me go over to and then I open up to Iron Patriot. Thunderbolts. Oh, do you think we'll see Crossbones? No, Crossbones is dead, which is disappointing, but nobody's ever really dead.
Yeah.
Taskmaster is.
He not only got blown up by a bomb, he got done blown up in an enclosed bubble.
Yeah.
From Wanda.
Okay, so there's Thunderbolts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me go over
this.
This
team members.
Okay, notable members, and they looks like they've listed them by their hero names, and then in parentheses is the real version. Citizen V, so I was correct on that. Baron Zemo says team leader. Techno, in parentheses, is the fixer. Okay, so I was thinking of the Tinker. I was gonna say, well,
he's
he
like
was
a
in
super small villain that just
Okay, because I was thinking of the Tinker, which is in Spider-Man: Homecoming, but not him. So yeah, the Fixer or Techno, Mach 1, who's Beetle, so that's a Spider-Man villain.
Okay.
Songbird, which it was actually Screaming Mimi. Screaming Mimi, how I learned about her was there's the cartoon. It's made for a younger audience. You can watch it on Disney Plus, called like the Superhero Squad show, and it's like just little kid versions of the heroes, the Avengers and Marvel characters, and they had like a villain team, and Screaming Mimi was one of them, and she was like a banshee kind of character. She would scream, and that was her. That was the way she fought.
That's exactly actually how I was envisioning her. That's funny.
She kind of looks like Livewire from DC. It's kind of a Superman villain. Kind of got the black and the white painted up and stuff. Then there's Atlas, which is Goliath. So that's actually a kind of a good guy. Goliath was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, played by Lawrence Fishburne.
Goliath gets killed in the original or the Civil War comic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was definitely. I remember that. But there's also been different versions of Goliath, not just the one that Lawrence Fishburne played. At one time, I don't know if they called him Goliath or not, but Hawkeye, in the comics, Hawkeye took PIM particles, and he was stuck in giant mode. And so he was like Goliath or somebody like that.
Really?
Yes. Then there's Meteorite, who is Moonstone. I think Moonstone is... No, I'm thinking of Moondragon. I was going to say it was Guardians of the Galaxy, but Moondragon is who I'm thinking of. Moonstone is somebody else I can't think of. Then there's Jolt, which doesn't have a name, or another alternate name. Charcoal, and Hawkeye. So these are notable members.
Maybe that's why Elena's in Hawkeye. She's recruiting Hawkeye.
There we go. And then
I'm really excited to see wearing his hearing aid.
Oh yeah, that's true. Then down here there's another lineup. It says Luke Cage's Thunderbolts. This lists Man-Thing, Satana, not Zatanna from DC, but Satana, whoever that is. Juggernaut, Luke Cage, Troll, don't know who that is, Mr. Hyde, so I think that's just kind of a version of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Boomerang, I've heard of that guy, and then Moonstone again. Okay, here. Let me try to see if we can see this picture, and maybe I'll try to find one and insert in. So see that giant kind of character? I'm assuming that's who they're calling Goliath, and that's what the Hawkeye version looked like.
Really? Maybe that is
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
It says here the caption of that, with the Thunderbolts, it was often hard to tell who were the heroes and who were the villains. Interesting. And then this says the Thunderbolts came into conflict with Captain America. That's some interesting stuff to note.
I think most of the Marvel universe gets into conflict with Captain America at least once.
Yeah.
It may not always be physical, but
right.
he's a 1940s conservative warman. Like, that is one thing the movies didn't like, which I'm kind of grateful because I'm glad they didn't bring politics. But I know there's quite a few comic runs where he's a typical 1940s man, very conservative.
Well, they did do. Winter Soldier was very political, and I really liked their stance on that because it was pretty much him against S.H.I.E.L.D., and he was like, they're like, we're going to create several helicarriers to watch over everybody. And he's like, why would you want to do that? Invade people's piracy and stuff. So that was some political undertones. Let me touch on a couple other rumors that probably not. Well, first I want to say that I seen a tweet from Charles Murphy, and right now his Twitter
he's on something right now.
Yeah, it's the Fantastic Four logo is what he has right now. So he must be on some kind of Fantastic Four kick, which this leads into what I was going to say. But he put up a tweet the other day. He says something about, guys, just stop it with your theories. You're going to disappoint yourself. You did it with WandaVision. Just don't. So with that being said, there was the rumor, and I don't think you brought it up, but you might have commented on it in Geek Life. But there was the rumor that Ben Grimm was going to be in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then we had this whole thread about somebody said, put up a gif of Joey from Friends, said, well, that's a bit of a stretch. Then you said, I can't see it, some about Invisible Woman. And then I said, y'all are on fire.
Invisible Woman confirmed.
Yeah,
dude, that is, I wish we could like highlight threads and post them like into something at the top of the page, just like the most classic of the classics.
Oh,
that
yeah.
would definitely be one.
Well, in the Brains Digestion magazine that I did, there was the segments I did of Geekery Update where it was your posts, your Facebook posts.
Yep.
And I cut them out, and they were all, since it was a DC issue, they were all on the making of the Batman. You had a lot of posts about the filming of that and everything. Okay, so the whole Ben Grimm thing. Now, I know that this probably wasn't with the whole Fox merger and everything. It was before the Fox merger, I'm sure of. But there was a whole theory about Black Widow.
When you say that, really quick, I want everyone to remember Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to come out almost 6 months before WandaVision.
Okay. Which
means its writing production was 6 months before, give or take.
So
they very well could be in a position where they're kind of limited.
Right. So there was the whole theory with Ben Grimm being in Ben Grimm, the Thing. Let me just point that out. I'm sure everybody listening knows who Ben Grimm is, but I just wanted to clarify that.
Everybody.
Yeah. So the theory was that he was going to show up in Black Widow, which was even before that time frame. Now, the reasoning behind that is David Harbour. David Harbour, now we know he's playing Red Guardian, but David Harbour would play a good Ben Grimm. He played Hellboy, and he's on Stranger Things, and so now he's going to be in Black Widow whenever that comes out as Red Guardian. But the theory was, when he was cast, like, I love when they say such and such person is cast for this movie for an undisclosed role. We're not going to tell you. And a lot of times it's like actors that I don't even know. It's like, I don't even care because I don't even know who you are, so I don't know who you're going to play. But yeah, when they said David Harbour was cast for the movie, a lot of people originally theorized Ben Grimm because he's got the physique and everything for him. And so now I wanted to point out, so now there's people theorizing that Ben Grimm is going to be in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which, okay, now it's confirmed that we're having a Fantastic Four movie. We kind of have a kind of a gray area for a date and stuff. We have a director and all that. They're looking for writers. So surely we're going to be maybe planting some seeds because that's the MCU. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Reed Richards did not show up in WandaVision. We know that now. But that was another theory that the aerospace engineer, which they didn't even show who that aerospace engineer was.
Okay, can we also, I was thinking about this. Can you imagine being the writers? How bad you would feel? Like they were like, let's just call him an aerospace engineer. Not a big deal.
Right. And then everybody's like that, saying that.
Oh my God, it's Reed Richards. It's Reed Richards. Oh my God, it's gonna be.
God damn it. Yeah, they're probably thinking, they're like, man, why did we have to say that? Sheesh.
So what's so funny is when she said aerospace engineer, because I watched it at 1:00 in the morning. I watch it right when it premieres.
Right.
Do the same with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I didn't think that at all. I didn't even think of it. Like my brain didn't even hear aerospace engineer and go anywhere with it. It wasn't until people talked about it the next day that I was like, oh, interesting.
See, I didn't hear the words aerospace engineer. I just pretty much heard that she had a friend and she's going to go talk to that friend. So then my brain did think, I obviously, I knew that she was talking about some kind of scientific friend. I didn't catch the word aerospace, but I caught something scientific. So my brain did think, okay, so who could they bring in that's a scientific character?
Yeah, so I don't know. I just didn't think that. So
what else you got?
Well,
what else you got for Falcon and the Winter Soldier? We covered a lot of things there.
Let's see. What are we missing? So there's been a lot of previews, trailers, but from what I've
understood, are you really eating during this?
I was assuming you were going to finish talking and nobody would see me. But no, you let me down. Didn't talk long enough about him. Speaking of villain, did you see that Secret Invasion got villain?
Oh, really? Well, they teased that at the end of WandaVision. I'm pretty sure that was the whole scene with Monica Rambeau and talking to that, what? Just let me say what I'm going to say, and then you can naysay after that. So the lady, the sword agent official or whatever, pulls her into the theater and then says, I'd like to talk to you, turns into a scroll, points upstairs and says, we're going this way. I'm thinking you had the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Far From Home where you saw Nick Fury up there on the scroll ship, which a lot of people were saying was a sword ship. I'm thinking that's where they're going to go, and this is what's going to lead into Secret Invasion. Because we got scrolls, we got sword, we've got Nick Fury.
I think Secret Invasion is the very last thing that comes out next year.
Okay.
So I think it comes out around Christmas of 2022, which means there's a movie that's going to come out before that. That's going to tie into Secret Invasion.
Probably Captain Marvel too, right?
Yep, November.
Yeah.
Monica is confirmed to be in Captain Marvel too.
Right.
Miss Marvel is confirmed to be in Captain Marvel.
So all three Miss Marvel Captain Marvels.
It's going to be. It's gonna. I think. I want to say this and make it known that I don't have any ill feelings towards the first one. But of the films I enjoyed most, that just wasn't one of them.
Right. I enjoyed the other Captain Marvel movie that came out about the same time. I enjoyed that more. What?
Shazam is great. Shazam's the best DC movie they've made, hands down. Like, it's not even a comparison. Sorry, Dark Knight, but Shazam is anyway.
I don't agree with Shazam being the best one, but I do agree that the Dark Knight trilogy was overrated, but that's again a topic for another episode.
So if you take WandaVision, Spider-Man 3, Doctor Strange 2,
right?
You take Loki, Thor 4, and another movie. You take Falcon and Winter Soldier, Black Widow, and Black Panther 2.
What if
Captain Marvel 2, you take Captain Marvel 2, Secret Invasion, and another one. So what I'm getting at is they're going to have multiple story types going at the same time. Story threads.
Story arc,
a multiverse story arch, some type of cosmic story arch, some type of Secret Invasion story arch. All this is going to be happening in the MCU simultaneously. And I want you to let that sink in, because as a fan of superheroes, this is the greatest time to be witness to something on TV.
So who are you saying? Okay, you said there has been a confirmed villain for Secret Invasion. Is that what you just said?
Yes. Kingsley Ben Adir has been cast as the main villain in Secret Invasion.
But that's probably one of those cases where it's like for an undisclosed role. And
no, it's for specifically main villain.
But I mean, did they say who the character was? Yeah, the name. So that's what I mean. They have said who the actor is. They've said it's for a villainous role, but they didn't say who it was. So again, this is an actor that I don't know, playing a character that hasn't been revealed yet.
So I think what we're going to see in Secret Invasion is a Skrull versus Skrull war. We're going to see the evil Skrulls actually invading Earth.
Yeah.
And we're going to see the Talos good Skrull, which, by the way, Talos, whatever.
Yeah, Ben Mendelsohn or something.
One of my favorite characters in the MCU.
So hopefully we'll see more of him.
He's in Secret Invasion. I can't wait. But I think we're going to see Skrulls versus Skrulls.
Okay.
And the Skrulls that are good are going to be a much smaller team than the other team. So that's why we're going to see like Captain Marvel join. I think Captain Marvel is going to be in it. I think we're going to probably see Monica in it. We'll definitely see Monica in it. I think we're going to have I don't think we're going to have a large Avengers team, but I think it'll be like a 5-person Avengers team that joins.
Okay. Right on.
Nice little enjoyment, like conclusive Disney Plus Avengers type series.
Yeah. Okay, so go back to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What were your wrapping thoughts on that?
Yes.
Now, when I say your wrapping thoughts, I want you to wrap your thoughts.
So here's what I think about the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think it's going to be cooler than a boulder, and I'm putting out there like a cold shoulder because I'm bomb diggity dog like a folder.
I'm so good. You're a better rapper than I am a beatboxer.
That was the worst rap ever. Anyway, I think. Please tell me you're going to include that. So
that's what TikTok is for.
I think. I need to stop saying I think so much.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is Falcon, like I said, Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to. We thought WandaVision dominated social media.
Yeah.
Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be
95% of the WandaVision dominating social media was Brian Biggs.
Who's that?
I don't know. Moving on. Continue with what you're saying.
This will probably be the same with Falcon and Winter Soldier, to be honest. That kid's crazy. So, and yes, I will be waking up at 12:55 to watch it at 1 a.m. every Friday.
For sure.
No. And then the first thing I'll do when it ends is post something to Geek Life. Like a boss. We saw WandaVision dominate social media for 8 weeks, and I think what we're going to see is something similar with Falcon and Winter Soldier. But it's going to be the most Marvel Disney Plus series I think we have. And it's going to be the most...
It's going to be the most MCU because WandaVision was its own thing with sitcoms and stuff. And there was some MCU happenings in there with like Jimmy Woo and Darcy and stuff. And then like the end episodes. But like this is going to be more like the MCU we know, like the action that we know from the MCU.
And if you look at every other show, Disney series coming out, like WandaVision, Loki, going to be different. What If, different. Miss Marvel, different. Hawkeye, different.
Oh, I think Hawkeye will probably be closer to MCU than the others.
I think
not as much as Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but...
Right. The thing with Hawkeye, though, too, is he's Kate Bishop's introduced.
Yeah.
And so it's going to just be an interesting dynamic.
Right.
Whereas with Falcon and Winter Soldier, we've seen these two together. We've seen them fight in Infinity War,
Yeah.
Civil War.
This is
Winter
their
Soldier.
continuing adventures / this is now their feature.
And if we're being honest, if the fans were given the fans were told, you have the ability to pick the 3 stories we tell next, who would you want involved? I guarantee you a Falcon and Winter Soldier specific, those 2 would be probably one of the top ones selected. I'm not sure if it would be in the top 3 per se, but it would be up there.
I like how you put that
loved them.
You put that post in Geek Life, and it said something like, imagine going back to watching Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Imagine being back in that time, sitting in the theater, 2014 or whatever that was, and your buddy who's from the future, whatever. I know you didn't say that part, but this is what I envisioned. Your buddy leans over to you and says, 2 of these characters are going to have their own TV show in 2021. Who do you think they will be? 9 times out of 10, who are you going to say? Oh, Falcon and Winter Soldier. And you said something about, you probably would have figured it would have been Captain America and Black Widow.
Well, yeah, obviously, because their chemistry in that was also top dollar.
I commented on there. I was like, honestly, I was thinking more Nick Fury and Alexander Pierce. I would have swore Nick Fury was going to have his own movie or something. I would have swore that.
So Secret Invasions, I mean, he's the main character.
Right, that's the closest he'll have to his own thing.
I think, honestly, I shared this in Geek Life the other day, but I think Chris Hemsworth, Tom Holland, Samuel L. Jackson, and Mark Ruffalo will be around to at least 2030.
You know, Sam Jackson, he's in his 70s, so think about that too.
He's a retired. He can be retired.
You know who's turning 90? It blew my mind. William Shatner.
Oh, I have to publicly
right
say this, by the way, because I have publicly said this in Geekery Update, and I need to publicly rectify it. I no longer stand by Gustavo Espirito.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito is Doctor Doom, because I unfortunately aware of his age, because he's in his 60s.
Right.
And there's no way because my Fantastic Four are in their 20s. There's no way their main villain can be 40 years older. I'm sorry.
Right. Going back to my whole Nick Fury and Alexander Pierce, thinking that, Nick Fury, I would have swore he would have had a show. But and even pulling back to the Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D. comic in which Winter Soldier had pulled from, Alexander Pierce was a character from there. Just not the whole way they took him in the movie is way different than the comic. Alexander Pierce was actually a good guy and stayed a good guy. Whereas in that movie, he turned out to be one of the villains. He was one of the Hydra agents. But so seeing if they would pull more, if that would have been a show with the 2 of them, surely they would have pulled more from that comic. And maybe showing some flashbacks, some prequel stuff, and maybe have Clay Quartermain in there, which Coulson should have very well been Clay Quartermain. I mean, they created a new character. Coulson is in the comics now, which is cool, but he very well could have been Clay Quartermain.
Right. Yeah.
Sitwell is in Agent, or is Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D. Jasper Sitwell's in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. I always go back to Marvel's casting. They do it right.
Well,
they are.
The reason for that is he is Nick
Ultimates.
Fury. Yeah, when they created the Ultimate Universe, and I think they first had him in Ultimate X-Men. He didn't really look like him in Ultimate X-Men, but when they did the Ultimates, when they were like, okay, let's make him a person of color, they went and they got the what do they call that? pretty much the resemblance of Nick Fury. Like they paid him and stuff, or Samuel Jackson, they paid him. And they're like, we're going to use your likeness. That's it. Likeness rights. We're going to use your likeness for this Marvel character. You are going to be, yes. And then so it was cool that they eventually just got him for the movie, which that was probably in the whole deal. They're like, we're going to pay you likeness rights. And then eventually you're going to play him in a movie.
I think, oh my God, he was so fun. So my favorite Nick Fury line thus far is in Spider-Man Far From Home, and Peter Parker is coming up with all these excuses to why he can't do it. And he just we find out it's Talos,
right?
But it's still Nick. It would still be him. But
he's trying to be the
please,
stereotypical.
You've been to space,
right?
Bitch, please, you've been to space,
right? So, all right, so yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is gonna be fire.
Yeah,
that's my main theory right there. Note this, everybody. By the time we do our wrap-up show, I said that Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be fire. That's my main theory.
Keep in mind, 2 weeks after Falcon and Winter Soldier ends, we get Black Widow.
We are getting Black Widow.
And then a month after Black Widow, we get Loki. And then What If right after that. And then, oh, by the way, Miss Marvel.
Cool. And then at the end of the year, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Which I wonder what that's about, because God forbid Alfred Molina is actually in it, as he was confirmed by Variety. And then, Jamie Foxx. What?
Yeah.
It's not a multiverse movie, though.
No.
It's not going to be a multiverse
Jamie
movie.
Foxx said he was going to play
Doctor Strange.
He's going to play Electro, but he's not going to be Blue.
I don't think they're going to be there. I think they're going to be in the MCU.
Yeah.
But they're going to be their characters. And I think when the multiverse opens up, something segues and creates them.
Yeah. You can find the Geekery Update on Facebook.
Yeah, you can.
You can find it on Twitter. You can find it on Instagram.
Tweet.
You can find it on YouTube. Yeah, you can find it on Spotify.
I almost just moved like a cow. Ask me why.
Why?
I have no idea.
3 cows shot me down. That was the opening line in the Avengers Skrulls versus Kree comic. You can support the Geekery Update podcast. There's an option on Anchor, which is our host site. Option on there called Become a Supporter. Go ahead and click on that. And there's tiers on what you can support. The smallest tier being like the price of a comic book. So that would be really grand if you could do that. And go ahead and like all our social meds. Hey, there's even Geekery Update on TikTok now. It's under my Allen Lyons 0. That's my TikTok. It's under that. But there are some Geekery Update videos on there as well. And with that being said, it's the bee's knees.